This is an invitation to the terrorist's ball. Throw away your parachute. This is free fall. This is war. Leave your lovers standing there at the corner where they sold you out so long ago. Your man is already dreaming about his next wife after you don't come home. And your woman just wants to stuff you into her oven so she can give birth to another Hitler. Flesh was only a disguise, and you won't need it anymore. Strip yourself down to sinew and bone so you can dance the rat-a-tat-tat and wrap yourself up into such tight convulsions that won't stop until the false dawn rises to lick your eyes with its nitroglycerin tongue. By the time you get this message, you should already be dead.
Dies Irae, dies Illa, so et se, lumen favia, teste davi, sabila.
The day of wrath. Upon that day, the chains of time will drop away, so oracles and prophets say. Then shall arise a dreadful cry, for at last the judge is nigh to sunder every earthly cry. A wondrous trumpet makes a sound to call the dead from underground before the throne to gather round, and man and nature stand amazed as creatures from the grave are raised, answering on Judgment's Day. The book of life is carried in, and everything is writ therein by which to judge our world's sin. Then the judge, he will ordain that what is hidden be made plain. No sin unpunished shall remain. And when my turn has come at last, up to the Lord this plea I cast before I hear my sentence pass. O King of awesome majesty, who grants the blessed eternity, O fount of pity, now save me. Remembering Jesus, I pray, for sinners with your life you paid, do not forsake me on that day. Our dear Redeemer of the lost, who suffered for us on the cross, let your labor not be lost. O judge of such revenge and pride, I pray you, set my sins aside. Before my sentence you decide. I cry like one condemned to die. My blush does all my guilt belie. Now spare your servant, Lord on high, who saved the Magdalene from grief, and even Barabbas the thief. Now grant my sins relief. My prayers will sink me in the mire, but mercy is your high desire. So keep me from the eternal fire. Make a place amongst your sheep, and snatch me from the fiery deep. At your right hand now let me sleep, confounding all who would defame, and far from the bitterest flames, amongst the blessed write my name. In all humility and dread, my soul torn into little shreds, I pray for pity when I'm dead. That was a translation from Latin, a medieval poet called known as the Dies Irae. This next is a translation from Spanish. It's by a Paraguayan poet named Julio Correa. It was written during the Revolution of 1947. Sing no more, poets, your ancient songs of Cupid or Venus or a lover's pain, or how you're entangled in passion's chains, or how your mistress does you wrong. Abandoned Arcades, sylvan glades, and Arden's forest, where poets meet with harlequins in masquerade, with nymphs and shepherds and like conceits, but rush to the streets, pile up the barricades with cobblestones, ripped in protest, Now is the time to bare your breast to the gunner's fire and die, hard-pressed, avenging slavery's disgrace with freedom's song upon your lips, your hands clenched into fists to smash tyranny's ugly face. Now, in Paraguay there are two official languages, Spanish and Guarani, which is the Native American language. This next is a translation of a folk song that was written in a mixture of the two languages. It dates from actually 1904, and it's called Revolution in Paraguay. Well, I caught them on the fly heading for the border, running towards Corrientes to escape from Paraguay, but not a one of them who lacked at least a poncho for his back. Some folks are yellow, some just have no heart. And this was the occasion for them to be the quickest, always in the thickest to kiss some fat behind. And with all of our afflictions, most folks fell into this bind. Some people left the country, though lots of us stayed behind. But they'd fallen, it transpired, from the pan into the fire, because mate and a biscuit was what there was to eat. And you need an extra treat with your caña or your gin. So they offered up their services to fight in the revolution. They explained away the past to grab a good commission, just doing their jobs, following the mob, or their minds were confused by the opposition's news. Everyone had a good excuse, everyone a happy volunteer. They scoured all the valleys and hillsides near and far for equipment for the war. They took people and horses and saddles, and what's more, jewelry and gold for sure. It's a revolution in Paraguay for scavengers and looters. Bombillas, mate gourds, whatever they could nab, including little trinkets, and though I hate to think it, even women weren't spared. But the worst of this affair, depraved beyond compare, they even stripped the corpses. Now, there's never any justice when there's a revolution, just a coward's retribution for some forgotten grievance. Friendship didn't matter, or duties to a neighbor. In fact, the ones the closest got robbed of their clothes. They took away their boots, their ponchos, and their hats, their lassos, their leathers, their saddles. Altogether, whatever you'd need to make yourself a soldier. So don't call me uncouth when I ask for your trust. Don't act disgusted when I tell you the truth, how it was in the revolution, but give me absolution. Because, mister, I'm a good man, and I know lying is a sin. This next one, Venus, I'm up here, thank you. Okay, now this next poem I actually wrote in Spanish. And Venus here is going to read a translation by my friend Dessa Darling, who can't be here tonight. She's in Spain right now. So after I read my poem, Venus will read Dessa's translation of my Spanish poem into English for you. Sonambulando. A dormir, mi peregrino, su madre inconsolable y su padre sin tierra. Suavecito vendrá la llovizna a tocarle su sonata en las teclas del techo. Y despiértase pues al fuego inagotable del gran ser solar. Levántese ya, eres infante del cerro, pariente ahora a todo verdor de los senderos, al verde oscuro del río que esconde caimán y piraña, al musgo de las praderas, pistas ancianas del inocente ñandú, que chispean sus ojos leyendo las letras doradas escritas en página ignota. En su soledad encontrarás grabado el ruiseñor. Su hambre se saciará con vocablos de amor, y sediento tendrás para beber tinto de las flores blancas del alba.
Go to sleep, my pilgrim, your mother inconsolable, and your father landless. Softly comes the drizzle to beat its sonata upon the tin of my rooftops, and then awaken to the inexhaustible flame the greatness of the sun. Arise. For you are the infant of the hill, kin now to the flora of the footpaths, to the green of the river, whose depths conceal piranhas and alligators, kin to the moss of the prairies, the ancient tracks of the earthbound birds. Let your eyes blaze, reading the golden letters written upon the unknown page. In your solitude, you will find the nightingale engraved, your hunger sated, and the spoken sounds of love. And thirsting you will drink of ink held in the white blossoms of the dawn.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's hear it for Venus.
Thanks. And thanks for Dessa for the translation too.
This one is called Minefield. How delicately we dance the line, balancing upon our plates the hourglass with the wine. How thinly wrought the wire is that holds the marionette, when the puppet's hand slips off the wheel to steep itself in clay. How brief the breath as a drop of blood that shocks our present mirror. So we lock each door behind us to push back the smells, but our gardens have been seeded with memories like mines. The seconds are as sudden as a summer's hailstorm, and the maps we've drawn don't show us where the rivulets run down. So when we turn the corner, we can't tell what we'll find. The innocence of flightless birds, or a ghost barreling down the path like a terrorist from underground. Don Quixote in Purgatory. Prepare purgatories that match my folly, punishments peers to my pride for daring to rattle a rusty sword against stone walls of ignorance, for draping my love with a metaphor, then parading her out at the ball. I was trapped on the fire escape as I shuttled up and down between the bomb shop in my basement and my bedroom full of books. Then they shut me in a closet until my eyes got used to the streaming dust. Now I've come to love my tormentors for their sensible clothes and for the blankets I sleep under. No more my weary cries shall roil the blood that eddies so calmly in our streams and ponds. So I'm writing down these confessions on a yellow-lined pad. I hereby renounce the phantoms of my fumbling desires, those windmills I grappled with, and even a few whispers of hope that still reach me like rats through the walls. This one is called Road Rage on the Lost Highway. Out of my way, assholes! You can't stop me now, you can't paint me in, 'cause even my friends don't know my name. Gonna ride the broken line, up the blind hill and around the curve. I'll outrun that sunset heading to the coast, and I'll force the sunrise up through my bloody windshield, moving into NYC. I got 1,000 horses thrumming under me. I got a thin steel shell to shield me from all the ghosts of men I might have been at all-night stops in Nowheresville. So fuck the hitchhiker trying to snag a way out, grabbing at a conversation with his thumb. I'll run my transmission through his guts all the way from Canton to Peru. Rev the rack and pinion that connects Sheboygan to Cheyenne. But when I get to Chicago, boy, where the wind shears at your face, when I get to Chicago where the neon sizzles in the rain, I got a woman waiting for me there in a red dress, and that means go, and she lets me pass on all the curves. This is Visions of Julianna.
Sunday and the pharmacies are closed. It's the weekend, we stopped her medication, with the walls around her slowly closing in. Easter now, Bethlehem's on fire. Tanks rumble through the ancient city street. Images of smoke and blood bombard her. But Julie has her television on. 1,000 leaders pray for moderation. In Hiroshima, the doves have been released. Julie feels their wings beat at her temple. The dogs of war are gnawing at her wound. Alone, she hears the thoughts that you conceal. She sees fangs at the corners of your smile. She smells the pit that's burning underneath us. Julie dances when the flames kiss her toe.
She twirls in her prom dress. She dances with no clothes. Her lovers circle round her till they all fall off the cliff.
It's springtime and patriarchs are plotting to strip a generation of its youth. It's Sunday and the coffee shops are empty. Julie's friends aren't picking up their phone. It's Sunday and the sidewalks are deserted. It's a holiday, the citizens are gone. Save a sentinel standing with his sacks, a phone, a lone guardsman in a beggar's cap and gown. He wails for the Virgin and her victim. A tremolo for soldier and his home. L.E.X will soothe a wounded city. Blue notes to bandage open sores. Dirt sows grass over graveyards. Make it ragtime so business can resume. But no music will heal the memories of the little girl who danced along the edge.
Julie twirls in her prom dress. She dances with no clothes. Her lovers circle round her till they all fall off the cliff. Let's hear it for rock and roll Johnnie Sage, who wrote the beautiful music, sang it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, also thanks to the Horses Saloon for having this event here. Let's keep it going for Steve on the sound there, for the lights. Don't forget to tip your bartender. Don't forget to tip your bartender. He works real hard. I know how hard he works. Okay, my last poem is going to be Sleepless in America. America is a beast that stirs in her sleep, a restless chimera of bull and a bear, elephant and ass, some nightmare shaken loose from the pages of Thomas Nast. She awakes with a start from the American dream. Her metropolis has been mutilated. The streets of Manhattan crawl with ghosts and road rage runs rampant on the lost highway. Suddenly, everyone's falling through big holes in the dollar. On Wall Street, Alexander Hamilton sleeps in the graveyard of Trinity Church. In his dreams, a storm batters his native Caribbean island. In his dreams, a youth escapes, a young man who sails to the metropolis with a blueprint of America drawn out of his own dreams of reason and sensibility. The ghost of Hamilton is roused by screams from the finance district. He puts on a face torn from the $10 bill and heads to Chinatown, where the sweatshops and fish stalls still smell like raw capital. He wanders Little Italy to commune with the warlords of old. They call him a chump for wasting his first shot. A vortex draws down upon the metropolis. It pulls in the dreamers from around the planet, from the deserts and mountain strongholds, from all the warring archipelagos of Earth. They arrive on sinking ships. They slip through in false bottoms or behind forged passports. They conceal themselves in the machinery wells of airships. Where they were, they did not belong. Now they are risking their lives for the American dream, for the streets paved with gold and the endless aisles of canned goods, for a new start and a decent night's sleep. The fellahin of Egypt dream of air-conditioned living. A fisherman from Korea talks of owning his own grocery store. A warrior from Somalia hunts for passengers in his taxi cab. Engineers pour in from the Indies. The pipers of the Andes discover a new altiplano atop a shining pinnacle where they greet the opening rays of the New York sun. One lost and overladen pilgrim circles the skies for a last look at Our Lady in the harbor, but he still doesn't get it, and so he plunges back into Manhattan to extinguish a million small dreams in one catastrophic auto da fe. The president is a talking head that sings us lullabies. God bless the land of Nod, he croons. Now get numb to what you saw. Trust the dollar and the gun. But Manhattan calls all her children back. She calls upon her ghosts. She invokes the names written on strips of paper left up on the walls. And from her sleepless avenues where the tattered nations meet, she conjures our metropolis to feed a world's dreams. Thank you very much.
Mr. Shillock, Chris Shillock. My name is Robert Wagner. I'm an agent with an FBI task force. If this is Chris Shillock, could you ring me back at 651-308-8402? Again, 651-308-8402, and I'll explain the purpose of my call. Thank you.
Friday, 1:22 p.m.